out of that. Now, since we are saying that the evil man being somebody who is not interested in the regulations or the limiting factors that are there, the law, norms, public perception, and the repercussions. They are not affecting this person, or is not interested, is not bothered by these effects, but is only bothered by the self-interest that I want to gain that, I want to eat, I want to acquire. I is the main driving force. So since the bottom line is the self-interest, as long as that self-interest is catered for, that is all he's interested in. But the law and the other issues, they come in to regulate so that he is able to minimize on his own loss. I mean this. The evil man does not have a law, but as he is looking for whatever he needs, he also wants to evade responsibility. So he does not respect the law, but where the law is able to catch up with him, he tries to find a way that the law does not affect him so that he can safeguard his self-interest. Now, these 5 issues that we have broken up, eventually they can be divided into 3 independent issues. Now, these 3, we can consider them like if it is a graph in 3 dimensions, like a graph in solid. When you look at the graph I've made, you will find that supposing we consider this graph to be a graph in 3 dimensions, a graph in solid, whereby this is a line going up on one side, there is the line going horizontally on the other side, and there is the third line going deep into the page, assuming this is going inside the page. Now, this vertical one I've written in red, it represents the effect of the Holy Spirit, which leads vertically upwards. Of course, we are saying uprightness, vertical, morally right. Conventionally, we take them as up. So the effect of the Holy Spirit and the obeying commandments of God, they are in the upward direction. Then there is the effect of the laws of the state, the culture, the norms, and otherwise are represented in this other color. They are horizontally, meaning they are independent of the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit, effects of the Holy Spirit and God's commandments, they are in a direction independent of the laws of the state and of the culture. Now, into the book, or into the graph, into the page, there is this which is representing the probability of the risk happening. For example, somebody wants to steal. Then, after stealing, obvious, there will be either arrest or being beaten, or people having a bad opinion of a person. Then it may happen or it may not happen. A person may steal and he may be caught or may not be caught. So this is what we are calling the probability of that being caught happening. If the probability is very low or zero, a person may ignore and continue with whatever he's doing. But if there is a probability of a half or beyond of him being known or being caught or being arrested, then it will affect his actions. Then there is the other unfortunate part, the satanic influence. It is directly opposite the effect of the Holy Spirit. It is in the same direction, but now opposite. The Holy Spirit leading upwards, the satanic influence are leading downwards. These forces apply to every person, although they may affect the person in his decision or not. We'll explain later how this Holy Spirit and the satanic influence, how they come to affect someone. Now, these taken as vectors, they act on somebody coming up with a resultant as to what the person will eventually do. So I've put them in a solid to show how these vectors put together to come up with the actual resultant as to what a person is likely to do. Beginning again with this red representing the effect of the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit and whatever somebody yields the Holy Spirit to do will uplift upwards. Then there is the effect of following the laws of the state added coming to that point. Then effects of character that are affected by the probability of something negative happening, they also uplift up to this other direction towards the inside of the page. Then finally, the satanic influences which will drag the person downwards, they'll now draw down up to this point. So eventually, the final resultant is from 0 here to this point here, reflecting the development of the person. You find that the Holy Spirit effect, effect of complying with the laws, probability of negative eventuality happening, and satanic influences coming up with a resultant. A normal person will have all these forces applying at the same time to some amount of acceptance or to some level of them being effective. For example, you may find a strong influence of the Holy Spirit and a small influence of maybe satanic forces, or you find the Holy Spirit is lead to here and then there's a strong influence of satanic forces. In the event that this satanic influence is a small amount compared to the influence of the Holy Spirit, you find that the end result will be somewhere in this region up here, which will show somebody who will, at least in the eyes of people, will be a good person. But if the satanic influences are greater than the influence of the Holy Spirit, obvious this will now go down. Instead of appearing in this box, now it will be down here. And the development, instead of being upward this way, now it will go down that way. And now we are talking of a person who is evil or a wicked man. Three scenarios happen. One, it could be a person who is just a normal person who is susceptible to what the Holy Spirit says and is susceptible to the satanic forces. There will be this and that, all of them in varying degrees. The Holy Spirit uplifting the person and the satanic forces pulling him down, depending on what measure he yields to both the Holy Spirit and the satanic forces. If he yields more to the Holy Spirit, there will be more effect from the Holy Spirit. If he yields more to the satanic forces, there will be more effect to the satanic forces. So you'll find that a person, a normal person, who is not fully committed to Christ or to Satan, you'll find there will be this and the satanic different amounts, so that eventually he'll either be coming up that way or going downwards. But for somebody who has fully committed himself to the Holy Spirit, even though this satanic influence is there to try and drag him down and make him fail, but none of his decisions will be affected by what the satanic forces try to coerce him to do. Therefore, in this case, this part representing satanic influence for a person fully committed to God does not exist. So we'll only have the effect of the Holy Spirit to uplift the person, the effect of complying with the laws as long as they don't interfere with the laws of God, and the probability of negative repercussions happening as per what the person does. That is for a man fully committed to the Holy Spirit. That the satanic forces can fight him, but there is no decision that this person will make according to the influence of the satanic forces. Therefore, this part here does not exist for him. Unfortunately, for the person who is fully committed to the satanic forces, you can also say, and also fortunately for him, there will be no time when there is no influence of the Holy Spirit on that person as long as probation exists. The Holy Spirit is there, and this world, God is the ruler, and nothing will happen in the world without the Lord allowing it to happen. Therefore, even though this person has shut his heart and his mind, and he does not want to hear anything from the Lord or the Holy Spirit, whereby a person would have expected only the influence of satanic forces, but nothing happens in the world without being allowed by God. And therefore, he will have a strong influence of the satanic forces, and then the Holy Spirit will still be there. It will be an effect which is small for the Holy Spirit, but it will certainly be there. So even for the wicked man who has given himself wholly to Satan, there will still be the effect of the Holy Spirit, the effect of the laws of the state, probability of a risk happening, and the satanic forces. But the person who is fully committed to God, the effect of the satanic forces does not affect his decision. So there is only the effect of the Holy Spirit, the laws of the state, and the probability of something negative happening. That is a little complex. Let me simplify it into two dimensions where we are only having up and horizontal. I think that is simpler than what we are dealing with having three dimensions. In this case, I have removed the effect of the probability of a negative reaction happening or a negative effect so that we are only having the vertical and the horizontal. The vertical representing effect of the Holy Spirit if it is upwards, and downward for the satanic forces. Then horizontally, we are talking about the effect of the laws of the state, the norms, the culture, name them. Now, for a normal person, again, we have said that there will be Holy Spirit trying to make the person live an upright life and to uplift that person. There will obviously be compliance with the effect of the state to make the person to, to be an orderly person, and satanic forces to pull down. Depending on to what level the person has accepted Christ or Satan or both of them at the same time, these will be in varying degrees proportionate to one another. So if you yield to the Holy Spirit more than to satanic forces, you'll find that there is a strong effect on the side of the Holy Spirit and a smaller effect on the satanic forces. So the resultant being that there is some kind of improvement there. If somebody yields more to the satanic forces and little to the Holy Spirit, then the satanic forces will pull down below this line so that it is now a negative effect that the person is experiencing. But for a person fully committed to God, there is no decision made considering the effects of the satanic forces. While the satanic forces will fight that person, the decision of a person that is fully committed to God will only be made according to the influence of the Holy Spirit. And therefore, this part of saying being pulled down by the satanic forces does not exist for a person fully committed to God, because they will only tamper with whatever he's doing or harass him, but there is no decision he makes in compliance with satanic forces. Is only compliant to what the Holy Spirit says. So he'll be going up and horizontally, then you have the resultant there. And as we said earlier, for a person fully committed to Satan or satanic forces, this person now does not just have the laws of the state and satanic forces, because the Holy Spirit acts on everyone. As long as probation has not closed, there will be the Holy Spirit talking to the person and then the satanic forces. So you may find that the effect of the Holy Spirit is little because the person is not willing to listen to what the Holy Spirit says. Then the satanic forces becomes a strong influence. Then the person is having a large negative reaction. But the Holy Spirit will obviously be there to talk to the person. And that's why you find even these wicked people who have given themselves wholly to Satan to do wicked things. You'll find most of them doing these things at night. If they were happy with what they were doing, if they were doing what they think is supposed to be done, then why do they hide? It shows that they are still sensing something wrong, which is by the prompting of the Holy Spirit. Otherwise, if it was not because of the prompting of the Holy Spirit, they would yell. We have defined wickedness and said the issues that make wickedness to be tempered. Tempered, by saying tempered, I mean it is not to full scale, it is regulated to some extent. People want to get all they need according to their self interest, but there are certain limitations which keep them from going full blast. And with this, I say these are the effects that temper wickedness so that it does not go to full scale or beyond what we see. Among them is number one, the law of the land. This law of the land represents the laws in the country documented and also the laws of God, the commandments of God. The commandments of God are absolute. They define moral uprightness and morally wrong. But the laws of the state, some of them will vary from country to country depending on what reasons they had for making those laws and the context in which that country finds itself in. But the laws of God are absolute. They define what a person who is a righteous person should do and what a righteous person should not do. So the first one is the law. We know that even though this person who is acting in wickedness may want to go free and to do whatever wicked things he wants to do, but eventually this law can catch up with him. It is not always that the law will catch up with you when you do something wrong, but in some cases it does. So somebody acting wickedly, that wickedness is regulated by the law, given that this law can find this person either having some kind of punishment, which could be arrest, it could be beatings, it could be reprimanding, name them, whichever kind of effect it has. Also, these norms, sometimes they may have some wrongly, or it could end up in a perception of public image according to what somebody has done. So these also temper down when somebody wanted to do something wicked. Remember last time we defined wickedness or a wicked person as somebody who does not have the law, somebody who does not follow the law, is not bothered by the law. But the same law can be able to catch up with him. So he does not like it, does not want to follow it. Where he's able to get away with it, he'll do. But he'll not always get away with the law. So this effect of the law being able to catch up with him tempers his wickedness such that he is not able to do full blast as per what he would have wanted to do. The public perception or the public image is also another important rule in tempering down wickedness. Even the wicked man, the evil man, he wants to have friends. He wants to be seen in a particular image. So this wish of this person to appear in a certain way or to appear acceptable in the society, it makes this person do certain things which this person would not be willing to have done if that rule was not there. And finally, there are the repercussions, which we are saying the short run repercussions, which could be immediately or the next few hours or a few days, and there are the long run repercussions, it could be years, even many years later, so that you may do something, it may appear as if you have got away with even for 20 years, but afterwards it may come back to haunt you. So while these 5 regulate the behavior of wickedness, let me say, while these 5 temper wickedness, I repeat again, tempering, we mean reducing the scale, such that in as much as somebody would have done wickedness freely, full blast, doing whatever he would want to do without caring about whatever happens, these actions of wickedness are tempered or they are checked by these 5 requirements, which is the law that can easily catch up with the person in some instances, the norms and the public perceptions and the repercussions to the action that has been done. But the bottom line is self-interest. This wicked man, as he does the wickedness, it is because he's looking for something or a satisfaction of a certain need, or he wants to achieve whatever objective that he wants in whichever endeavor that he's breaking the rules. But in as much as he does so, he also is tempered in his actions by these limiting actions, by these limiting 5 issues: the law, the norms, the public perceptions, the repercussions, short run and the long run repercussions. And in as much as he is acquiring any place that he is able to evade these 5, he'll do it. But where these 5 will catch up with him, he'll try to escape, so that at the end of the day, he wants to get the service and not take responsibility and not carry the punishment for what he has done. Now we have defined the wickedness. We have seen how a human being thinks or acts. And we have seen that in these actions, there are certain overriding factors which will govern the behavior so as to escape responsibility. A normal reasoning person would want to behave that way. But he's doing that to safeguard self-interest or to gain, self-gain, so that eventually you have got something, but either you have not paid, or if there is punishment, you escape that punishment. Now, we will now go to the next step of being able to see that when you act in righteousness, how it is regulated. Since righteousness, you are not checking that you are coerced by the 5, the law, the norms, the public perception, and the repercussions. Righteousness is governed by the Holy Spirit and the commandments of God. And since you are answerable to God and you are following righteousness according to the commandments of God, and of course obedient to the laws of the state, if at all they are not conflicting with the laws of God, it therefore means that the way the righteous man behaves in relation to the society and his opinion and objectives, his setup are different from that of a wicked person, because the righteous person is following the commandments of God and the laws of the state, while the wicked person does not have the laws, but he has his own laws of self-interest guide, which are supposed to safeguard the self-interest, so that that self-interest is not lost. We'll continue with this next time we meet. But now, for the time being, we would like to thank you for the time you have had with us. We will try to maintain these episodes as simple as possible. If you like our discussions on this topic, please click like it, share, and subscribe. And let us be able to meet next time over this topic again. And be blessed. Meet next time. Thank you. Have a good day.